Hello, I'm Ken Samples. Today I'm joined by Tim Boyle, who is our visiting scholar. Tim, how are you doing today?
Well, we've been going through a lot of interviews, so I'm getting more used to this.
Well, very good. I know you were involved in editing and translating a book that I find very interesting and exciting. It's a book entitled Wounded Tiger, A True Story. The author is T. Martin Bennett. Tim, my understanding is that the central figure of this book was the lead pilot in the attack upon Pearl Harbor that led to the beginning of World War II for the United States of America. Tell us about this pilot a little bit and what his background was.
Okay, so Mitsuo Fuchida is his name.
Okay.
And Fuchida was, he's sort of the Red Baron of Japan. He was their top pilot, and he did a lot of the training, all the flyers that were on the Pearl Harbor raid. He trained them,
Wow.
and then he led them. And so he was really, well known in Japan, the kind of their war hero. And his amazing story, this book itself is actually 3 separate stories, 3 strands. That because the other one is the American. Matter of fact, if you read the subtitle there, that'll give us a little lead into that.
Yeah, the pilot who led the attack on Pearl Harbor, whose life was changed by an American prisoner and by a girl he never met.
Yeah, so the American prisoner was Jake DeShazer. He was one of the Doolittle Raiders.
Okay.
Right. This is a response to Pearl Harbor.
Right.
And he was captured. His plane didn't make it to the safe area of China, and so he was in prison for the rest of the war. Experienced horrendous, torture and various, deprivation and this sort of thing. He actually became a Christian right towards the end of the war, because they had given him a Bible to read. Somehow they had gotten an English Bible, who knows where,
right?
And they were trying to treat the prisoners a little bit better towards the end of the war, and so he reading through that, it was just so, first of all, forgive your enemies. Are you kidding me? This is the initial reaction. Yet when he actually started thinking about it, and how do you get out of this vicious cycle of revenge and hate, and then it occurred to him, Jesus saying, Father, forgive them, they don't know what they're doing. All these kind of things just really impacted him. And he decided that he was going to try to put that in practice. And things really changed. He actually became friends with the guard who had been treating him so bad.
Wow. And
after the war, he came back as a missionary to Japan. And so he had an amazing testimony, as you can imagine.
Right.
And then the third one was the girl he never met. This was the Covell family. They were missionaries in Japan who, right at the outbreak, just before the outbreak of the war, they had left, gone to the Philippines thinking they would be safe, and of course they weren't.
Right.
Their daughter and their younger 2 children too had gone to the U.S. to go to college, and so she was the one that. Since she spoke Japanese, she went to the prisoner of war camps to help out. And one of them happened to be Fuchida's head mechanic.
Okay.
And so after the war, Fuchida found all this out, realized what had happened. He read the DeShazer's testimony, and this really started transforming him. Over time, he realized that, yes, this is the answer. We have to come to reconciliation and forgiveness. And he became a Christian evangelist, which is a pretty amazing transformation.
I mean, what a story. Here you have a national hero for Japan, which leads to the beginning of the war with America. And I'm sure he must have thought initially, I'm not very accepting of the West and its religions, but he finds forgiveness in Jesus Christ. I mean, that really is an amazing story.
Yeah, and he just marveled at how he was still alive, because there's so many situations where he should have been dead,
Right.
and yet somehow somehow something is protecting me. What is this?
Yeah.
And so that's was also part of the story. And
How prevalent? I mean, you're a student of World War II, like I am. How prevalent do you think it is that people in Japan began to be more accepting of Christianity out of that kind of terrible
yeah.
end of the war?
Well, the first few years after the war, the church in Japan actually, grew quite rapidly. There was a lot of people who experienced, the occupying forces they were not what they expected. They expected retribution and whatever, and yet it was the opposite. And so that in itself has opened up, them, spiritually. But then as actually the Korean War was one of the big impetuses towards Japan's economic recovery, actually, which is kind of a sad thing in itself. But once that kicked in and they had the economic miracle of Japan, advancing so rapidly, people became so focused on that their felt spiritual needs, sort of really took the back burner, and therefore, the growth of the church really slowed down.
Okay.
And it's been kind of in that ever since. Oh, there's bright spots, and there's places where you got some really active evangelistic efforts that are really paying off, but as a whole, it's kind of stagnated.
Well, it's an amazing thing, the depth of the grace of God that can reach people in various walks of life, even a Japanese warrior. And Tim, again, I want to mention that you did some of the translating of this book.
Into Japanese, yeah.
Into Japanese.
Yeah.
It's entitled Wounded Tiger, and the author is T. Martin Bennett. Tim, thanks for spending some time with me.
Thank you. I might mention that the plans are to introduce this book with a marketing campaign in the next few months, and also to make it into a movie within the next, few years.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.